All right, so 170 something dollars later, I finally have me a new pair of Brooks running shoes, and it seems like each year the price of running shoes seems to go unashamedly upwards. The last pair of Brooks that I paid for was $150, and that was just last year. Years prior, they were 120, and then I don't know, probably more than 10 years ago, they're closer to 100. So probably a couple months from now, they may be 180, and probably sometime next year, they'll be closer to 200. I've been past due on my running shoes, and I know better, especially since I ran cross country in high school. And I know on a fundamental level it's super important to add running shoes to my quarterly budget, especially since I run basically at least 3 miles a day. And 3 miles is usually my baseline. And I will make it a habit to buy running shoes more frequently. And so that kind of rolls into the topic of this video. Why is it important that I buy running shoes more frequently? Well, my body is a machine, and running shoes are the tires on a car. In order to maximum, in order to ensure maximum performance, it's imperative to keep your footwear updated at all times. Basically, we want to prevent injuries, whether like your foot like snaps or you have like plantar fasciitis. There's a whole bunch of things that could derail you. And basically, injuries are what derail the one thing that is important to every athlete, which is consistency. A missed week of training can basically set an athlete back really, really far. Um, when Whenever you're driving a car, that car has usually four tires. Um, each tire has a rubber tread that gets worn down as the car is basically put into use. It's going, on a street, on roads, and it just wears down. Now, each tire has a given number of mileage before it is completely spent, and basically you have to change it out. And as it gets worn down, the car itself will give you indications that the tires need to be changed. Basically, you're driving with the steering wheel and it starts to shake, or you turn and it's not turn. You turn and it's not really smooth. You'll be able to feel it, and basically with running shoes, it's the same way. Um, like I'm flat footed, and so both my feet actually need a lot of support because I have no arch. So as I'm running and wearing down the shoes, as it basically reaches the end of its life cycle, it becomes a lot harder for me to run on my toes. And because a lot of the support basically is worn out to the point where I'm almost running on my heels. And if you're a runner, you always, whether you're flat footed, have high arch, or normal arch, you always want to avoid heel strike. Basically, heel strike is whenever you're taking a step, you hit your heel first instead of your toes. So you want to hit your toes first whenever you run, because that's going to propel you forward. If you hit your heels, it's like you're hitting the brakes. So landing on your toes, leaning forward, is like putting your foot on the gas pedal. But whenever you're almost like running straight or backwards, or leaning backwards, or striking your heel first, it's like you're putting on a brake to a car. Now, the recommended mileage for a pair of running shoes is, from what I was told when I was running cross country, either 300 miles or about 2 months. And of course, that could be more or less depending on if you're a walker, a jogger, mid distance, long distance. Your training really is going to determine how quickly you're going to need shoes. And other factors involve your shoe brand as well. So the shoe brand that I typically go with is Brooks. It's going to be a more expensive type of running shoe than if I bought them from Walmart. It's going to be about $100 something difference. So let's take a look at my old shoes. So I went to the running store yesterday, and the person who helped me out, I went to, I think it's called Gotta Run in Clemson. They asked after I bought my new pair of shoes if I wanted to donate the old ones, and I told them no. I wanted to make this video right quick. So these are the shoes I bought last year. So they say Brooks, but you can tell um, basically I'm running them so much that the shoe itself is coming apart. Um, you can see like there's a hole at the very top of the shoe, and even in the inside is worn out. Like I've put these things through hell and back. Now, if you actually turn the shoe, this is going to be also the most telling sign. So it really is like a car. So like when you first buy shoes, it looks pretty much exactly the same like a car tire. But as you look at it, um, actually, if you look at the top, there's still a little bit of tread, which means that I'm not running on my toes as much as I should be. Basically, I'm leaving some speed on the table. So, but if you look right here, on the smoother part of the shoe, you can tell where I'm hitting at when I'm actually on my runs. And then if you look even here, so I'm running more or less, I don't know what it's called, but I'm running a little bit south of my toes. So I have to work on my technique more. And then if you look at the back of the shoes, this is a better sign, but still not great. So there's still some tread on here. Hopefully there will be more tread, which means that I'm not running on my heels as much. Basically, I'm not slowing myself down. But this, you can tell this shoe is way past its life cycle. Now here's the new pair of shoes that I bought as of yesterday. And if you look at the very bottom, it still has all of this tread from the beginning of the shoe to the end of the shoe. You flip it over, it's got all of this protection, basically from the heel all the way to the toe. So whenever I'm going to be running in this, or whenever you're running in a new pair of shoes, it's going to feel like you're walking on clouds. Um, so it's going to feel like you're walking on clouds. Your runs are going to be a lot smoother. It's going to be a lot less impact on your bones and joints. One of the signs that you need new shoes is that whenever you move your toes, you can feel it like almost popping a little bit. That's a telltale sign that you've lost pretty much all the protection on your footwear, and now you're starting to have a lot more impact um, when you're doing your strikes against the ground. You may also encounter problems with your knees, but hopefully by then you've changed out your shoes. Um, let's see. On the inside of the shoes, there's also a lot more protection as well. So walls that protect the side of your foot, and then also the tread on the inside, the sole on the inside as well. So you want as much protection as possible at all given times. And then shoes are critical because they offer protection. They are basically shoes are basically buffers between your bones and joints and the hard concrete. Um, if you're fortunate enough to be able to run on grass, do it. But I typically run indoors now because the temperature is basically controlled. Like when I did a lot more running outside when I was younger, and I was basically subject to um, the weather. So cold, rain, whatever. But before I go to work, I basically go to a 24/7 gym that has plenty of running space. So my runs are more consistent now. Uh, and basically, most problems when it comes to running can be solved by either stretching more consistently or buying a new pair of shoes. If we go back to the car example, if you can take like a penny and on your car and you put it in between the treads of the tire, and if the penny stands up, you're good. But if the penny falls out, it means it's time to change. So the longer you let it go past its life, the more likely you'll see like the wires and the tires and stuff like that, which can lead to your car like breaking down and having an accident. So that's also a reason why basically like running shoes are like the treads of the car, because I mean you could have a breakdown as well in the most extreme examples. um, in order to be a successful athlete, you have to think in terms of being a machine and not in terms of someone who is merely playing a sport.